The audience chamber in the fortress of Hera was empty but for Ibraine, the Vizark, and Guilliman. In a matter of solar hours, the Terran Crusade would depart Macragge, yet the Primarch had a few moments to speak to the Inari leaders alone. Even after solar weeks of mutually fruitful alliance, most warriors would have been cautious of standing alone in the presence of such sinister and powerful Xenos. Guilliman was not most warriors.
"It will be a long and dangerous journey,"
said Ibraine.
"The galaxy grows darker by the day. Have a care. You may have cheated death once, but you are not invincible."
Guilliman nodded solemnly. "Can I say nothing that will convince you to join us on our road? I have come to value the strength of you and your warriors greatly these past weeks."
"You cannot,"
Ibraine replied.
"Already we have given you the gift of rebirth, not to mention a number of our people's lives. Is that not enough?"
"It is a debt I'm sure you won't forget," said the Primarch. "Before you depart, tell me this. Khal may have fashioned the armor that I wear, but it was not he alone who ensured my resurrection, was it?" Ibraine smiled demurely.
"His technology would have healed your physical wounds, but you and I know that the worst damage had been done to your soul. So, no, it is by the grace of Iniad that you stand once more amongst the living. If you wish to remain, however, I would caution you against removing your warplate. Not that you could easily do so."
A flicker passed across Guilliman's features at this, a faint ghost of pain well hidden, swiftly replaced by a stony mask of duty. "I could press you for greater insights into the power that brought me back, and assurances against any taint in their nature," said Guilliman, noting how the Inari stiffened their postures at this. "But I suspect that our newfound understanding is of more value to my father's realm than my own satisfaction, and that those answers would not come easily." Ibraine inclined her head, while the Vizark silently eased his hand away from the hilt of his blade.
"Thus, instead, I shall simply wish you victory in your ongoing battles against our mutual foes. May you walk with fortune,"
said Ibraine.
"and know that we shall stand together in battle again, before whatever end befalls us."
The Vizark offered an elaborate warrior salute to Guilliman, who nodded curtly in return, before the Eldar turned and swept gracefully from the chamber. "No doubt we will," murmured the Primarch thoughtfully, watching the enigmatic Xenos withdraw. "As long as it serves your needs." Ibraine is the leader of the Eldar death cult, the Inari. Originally known as the warlock-turned-aspect warrior of Baal-Tan, Amharok, this promising Eldar could never find satisfaction from the myriad paths she trod, whether that of the seer, creator, servant, lover, or philosopher. Trained by the Exarch of the Shrine of the Silvered Blade, Larian Starspeaker, her restless nature drove her to pursue the path of the Corsair, until a mutiny forced her to venture into the webway. Pursuing the thrill of the gladiatorial arenas of Komorra as the chosen champion of Lady Aurelia Malice and her cabal of the Poisoned Tongue, her duel against the Grand Succubus of the Cult of Strife, Lelith Hesperax, during the Night of Revelations, would see to her demise. The artery of her heart skillfully nicked by the Mistress of Death. As Amharok bled out upon the sands of the arena, the killing blow would be inflicted by a priestess of Morai Heg. Reborn by the influence of the nascent Whispering God, Ennead, the conduit of the Eldar God of the Dead, would henceforth forever be known as Ibraine, the Daughter of Shades, drawing the first disciples of the Inari Creed to her side. Aided by her former mentor, now known simply as the Vizark, in her escape from the Dark City, the disjunction, wrought from such immense outbursts of psychic energy, flooded Komorra with demons, as Supreme Overlord Asdrubal Vect fled to safety. Venturing to her craftworld of origin, as the forces of the greater demons, Skarbrand and the Mask harried their defenses, the burgeoning death cult, aided by the might of Phoenix Lord Jane Zar, earning the respect of the revered matriarch of the Howling Banshees. Sealing the webway portal of the Maiden World of Ursulia, banishing the thralls of the ruinous powers in the process, Ibraine informed the people of Baal-Tan that only by gathering all 5 Crone Swords of Morai Heg would their people finally find salvation. Her visions of Ennead awakening to sunder She-Who first, doing little to convince the Baal-Tanians, Ibraine summoned the avatar of the Whispering God, the Incarn, harnessing the spirits of the dead, writhing within the Craftworld's damaged Infinity Circuit. Acceding to the power of the Opener of the Seventh Path, Yvraine would entrust their Crone Sword, Azuvar, to the Vizark to match her own Sword of Sorrows, the Kavir. With Biel-Tan pledging warriors to aid the Inari's cause, including the venerated Autarch, Millennial, further allies would be found within the Craftworld of Ulfway, as Farseer Eldrad marveled at the avatar of Ennead, conjured by this enigmatic emissary. Having already failed in his efforts to destroy Slaanesh during his ritual upon the crystal moon of Goheria, the ancient Farseer abandoned Craftworld Ulfway, devoting his remaining life to aid in the plight of the Inari. Procuring the third Crone Sword, Vilif Zar, the Sword of Souls, for use by the Incarn during their expedition to the world of Belial IV, with further allies drawn from Craftworld's Ulfway, Altansar, and even the Harlequins of Kegarak. Yvraine would also inherit the Gyring's familiar, Alorianis, from the Warlock, Gwentilian Onyxblade. Saving the Craftworld of Iyanden from an invasion of Nurgle, led by the Chaos Lord, Garagugulgor, though Prince Uriel would perish during his sacrifice to destroy the Space Hulks which beset his home, the power of Ennead would restore him to life. Realizing his family heirloom, the Spear of Twilight, to in fact be the fourth Crone Sword to which they sought, with the heir of Ulfanash's favour of the Whispering God, only one remaining now eluded the Opener of the Seventh Path. Venturing to the frozen moon of Kalisos as survivors of the Hall of Cadia retreated from the wrath of the Black Legion, the attempt by the exiled Chief Librarian of the Thousand Suns, Arzek Araman, to invade the Black Library would divert their expedition. Reviving a Rubric Marine of the 15th Legion back to flesh and bone, Araman had but mere moments to marvel at the miracle before him, before the Inari cast them through a tear in the webway, ending their bittersweet lives as the exile fled the field. Forging an alliance with the Celestinians upon Kalisos, the band of Eldar, Space Marines, Skitarii, and mortal humans ventured to the realm of Ultramar. The invasion of Macragge following Abaddon the Despoiler's victory at Cadia, too great to ignore. Aiding the Ultramarines during their defense of the capital of their empire, Yvraine would parley with her new companion of the Celestinians, Belisarius Cawl, offering the power of Ennead to his cause. Taken to the Temple of Hera in sight of the shrine of the interred Primarch, Rabute Gilliman, Chapter Master Marneus Calgar would seek counsel from his chief librarian and first captain, witnessing a mere two Eldar standing in his presence. Though Captain Agamon advised caution by imprisoning the Eldar until the campaign's conclusion, Varro Tiguria shared his visions of late, which showed portents of a great event which would shake the foundations of the Imperium. The Temple of Hera, breached by the forces of the Black Legion, Yvraine took matters into her own hands as Belisarius busied himself activating his long-carried cargo, the Armor of Fate. The power of the Whispering God surrounding Rabute Gilliman's form as the Ultramarines looked on in dismay. The combined power of Machine and Arcana restoring the Avenging Sun to life. The son of the Emperor, brandishing the flaming sword of his father, unleashed his wrath upon the Black Legion as Yvraine and the Vizark fought by his side. Purging the heretic filth from Macragge, after weeks of conflict led by the returned Lord of Ultramar, Yvraine and the Vizark would bid Gilliman farewell, having played a vital role in opposing the resurgent threat of chaos. Eldrad Ulfran advising the Inari to retrieve the artifact, known as the Hand of Darkness from Mortarian's Whispering Tower, though the Vizark would balk at being treated as hunting hounds for the humans. The value in aiding Gilliman's retaliation against chaos could not be avoided. Venturing into the heart of the Garden of Nurgle, with aid from the Harlequin, Yggdrasil Dreamspear, as they stole away the Hand of Darkness, Yvraine succeeded in her mission to pilfer the domains of the Pale King, losing minimal followers in the process. Escaping the Garden of Nurgle, only to face the thralls of Tzeentch within the dead city of Einarash, the efforts of Autarch Millennial fended off the remnants of the armies of Ahriman, sundering a Lord of Change with aid from the Incarn. Delivering the Hand of Fate to Eldrad, the subsequent arrival of Ayana Arianal of Craftworld Iyanden would present a new chance of finding the final Crone Sword, a portal which would lead to the Well of Souls. Divining that the Gate of Malice upon the lost Craftworld, Zaisufra, connected to the legendary tomb of Eldanesh, Ayana would accompany their expedition due to her familial ties of House Arianal, being potentially the only means to communicate. Ayana speaking the salute of her house, after darkness the dawn, upon their arrival to the Craftworld. The mysterious High Lord Guardian, Sidari, welcomed the pilgrims to his home, the Inari remaining wary as they saw signs of battle. None among the much depleted populace wearing waystones to guard their souls from Slaanesh, instead relying on their so-called group mind. Though Yvraine could feel the suffering of the people of Zaisufra, her suspicions would grow during a banquet made in her honor. Ayana's own investigations revealing what remained of her household to be corrupted by a Genestealer cult infestation. Upon receiving psychic warnings from the Angel of Iyanden, Yvraine and the Vizark combated their foes, stirring the Incarn to wakefulness. The bloodshed spilled from the purge of the Genestealers, opening the Gate of Malice. Yvraine passed through the portal, stepping within reach of the Tomb of Eldernesh. The first avatar of Cain, striding from the tomb upon First World, with the blood of Eldernesh still slick upon its blade, the war shard bellowed its fury, turning the disciples of the Aspect Warrior creeds into a frenzy. The Vizark turning his blade against Yvraine as the Ynnari fought one another. The Daughter of Shades knew in her heart that not even she could match the martial skill of her former tutor, allowing the bite of the Sword of Silent Screams to end her life. The Incarn, wailing as it spewed from her form, soaking the corpse of the Daughter of Shades in tears, cradled in its arms. The essence of its grief, combined with the well of the dead, instilled within her body as the Avatar suddenly hurled her high into the air. Revived by the power of the Whispering God, Yvraine decapitated the War Shard of Cain as she plummeted from the skies. The gemstone known as the Heart of Eldernesh, a worthy prize for her stalwart autarch, Millennial the Pure-Hearted, as he absorbed its power for use in future battles. Forgiving the Vizark for his failings as he knelt before her, though the final Crone Sword would not be found, another potential location would soon reveal itself. Farseer Eldrad's delving into the webway, having led him to the Falls of Unshed Tears. His confrontation with the greater demon of Slaanesh, N'Kari, would provide a clue, as the symbol of the Cosmic Serpent spilled from his pouch of runes. The Ynnari meeting with the chieftain of the Craftworld, Same Han, Niall Fireheart, Yvraine demanded the Seers of the Cosmic Serpent that his clan would lead the war host by their side in the battle to come. Begrudgingly acceding to the demands of the Reborn, as Same Han spoke of the impending threat of the tomb world of Agaramethia. Their portents foretold that this mysterious planet would one day bring doom to their people, if not preemptively struck. Yvraine seeking the vault upon its surface, as her prize theorized to conceal the final Crone Sword, alongside the brash son of Chieftain Naal, Nuadu. The Ynnari pushed past the planet's null field, deploying without the use of webway insertion points. Feeling their connection to the Whisper cut as they descended upon the tomb world, Yvraine could not retreat, entrusting the Windrunners of Same Han to compensate for their diminished capabilities. The Necrons firing upon the Eldar as they fought their way to the pyramid of Panepatek. Upon opening the vault, the Ynnari would be dismayed to see a horde of Slaaneshi demons pouring from its entrance. Realizing the vault to be a prison containing a direct portal to the realm of chaos, the Tomb World's overlord, Feyrek Hazepfut, directed the Eldar to meet with her as the guns of the Necrons fell silent. Parlaying an alliance to once again seal the portal, the Warden of the Dark informed Yvraine that only an Eldar could close the breach, and it must be made on the side of the realm of chaos. Accepting the terms of the jailer of the Scepter Plaraki, the Ynnari rallied to assault the breach alongside the Necrons. The relinquishing of the soul of Iofa Icewhisper harbored within the body of Chieftain Naal, allowing Yvraine to call upon the Whisper inside of the planet's nullfield. Millennial Pureheart transforming into the form of the War Shard, as Feyrek Hazepfut unleashed a Catan Shard. The summoning of the Incarn completed the assault of demigods, as the Keeper of Secrets leading the invasion faltered in its command. Chieftain Naal's daughter, Calefin, sacrificing herself to close the portal. As the tether to the realm of chaos was severed, the demons upon the prison world were vanquished, the clouds parting as Hazepfut deactivated the nullfield. Now reconnected with the Whisper fully, the Ynnari escaped the world of Agaramethia, knowing Craftworld Same Han to be saved from its aggressors. The alliance between Yvraine and the Feyrarch ensuring a tenuous peace, despite the Crone Sword once again evading her grasp. The endeavors of the Ynnari beset by assassination attempts, orchestrated by Supreme Overlord Azribael Vecht as reprisal for the Night of Revelations. Attacks from both Drazar, the Living Sword, and the Greater Demon, Shalaxi Hellbane, have continued to harry their endeavors. Foreseeing herself to be slain by Hellbane, as the Greater Demon presents her soul to she who thirsts to be devoured. Though Yvraine is now immune to pain, her dreams are tormented by the screams of her future self. Allying with myriad champions of Eldar martial creeds to ensure her survival, whether the Phoenix Lord Jane Zar, Farseer Ulfran, Grand Succubus Lelith Hesperax, Pure-Hearted Warshard Millennial, the Avatar of Ennead, or the Stalwart Guardian of the Vizark, all who pledged to fight for the Ynnari shall sacrifice themselves should the God of Whispers be ascendant. Knowing her defenses to be incomplete without the addition of a Harlequin solitaire to her entourage, upon the relic world of Ayaki, the exiled jester, Keeganil, and his companion Ephriel Stern spoke of such a champion to her cause should she fell a great threat to the galaxy. Directing the Inari to the ancient Great Conclave on the world of Eye of Glass, representatives of the Graph Worlds, Exodites, Drukhari, Inari, and Harlequins convened, their presence inviting the great threat, Shalaxi Hellbane, and a chance to end the Inari. The combined might of the Vizarch, the Yin Khan, Jane Zar, Lelith Hesperax, and a mysterious solitaire of the Midnight Sorrow confronted the beast, Hellbane withdrawing from the fray, goading that it had taken the prize they sought to the inner sanctum of She Who Thirsts. All present resolving to continue their efforts to procure the final Crone Sword, no matter the cost. Only time will tell if the Reborn shall be successful in their efforts to awaken the Whispering God, bringing about the renewal of the long-diminished Eldari species.